Let's get ready for some of your calls and messages here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. Taking your calls on 876 922 4112 to 5. 876 922 4112 to 5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876 365 3346. And there's another number for that. 876-279-8598. That's 876-279-8598. That has been, it's been quite significant. In fact, it's like what they call it in the profession of dentistry. It was like a root canal, just listening to the experts explain in detail how the oral health component of our bodies is taken care of or should be taken care of. So we can't thank the doctors enough, the dentists, I should say, or the oral health professionals, would cover everybody. But they have done a masterful job. And we want to thank our business development executive, Vivette Malcolm, no relation, but of course, playing her part as a leading member of our business development executives. And so let's try to continue enjoying a happy month and a happy body here on Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. And same as the WhatsApp number, 876 365 3346. 876 365 3346. It's Oral Health Month, and we're shouting it all across the world. Let's go to the break and come back with more in just a moment. Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. Some feedback from our listeners in relation to oral health. Let me get it right. Not the in English. Because of you have one vowel running into the other. So you don't need to say the, it's the. So it's the National Oral Health Month. The National Oral Health Month. And we thank once again the professionals for their work. All right, let's see now some of the messages that have popped up. Where do we start? This one says, this is from Tony Kelly, saying we were just recently notified that uh, they have had a change in one of their initiatives. This one, Tony Kelly's free diabetes talk. So we'll come back to that. This one from Yaz Child saying, "Good day. Contract workers at JTech, an agency of the Ministry of Education, have not gotten an increase for more than 3 years. They are wary of speaking publicly." And they go on to say they have only been getting promises and they're crying out for help. Michael in Belle Plaine, Clarendon says, "Good afternoon, teacher, to you and Power 106 family. I want you to big up my friend Spice on and huh? Let me try this again. I want you to well it's not I'm sure he meant big as in big up as opposed to what is there. I want you to big up my friend on his birthday. Mine, yours, yesterday. Thank you, teacher. Keep safe." Thank you for your message. This one says, "Mr. Blake, good afternoon. This is my third message to the station. I'm asking for an assistance or some assistance to finish my room. I am a widow, 73 years old. I'm unable to work, not well in body, so if kind listener could assist me with 2 windows, a metal door, a single kitchen sink, 6 door jambs, bathroom set, I would be so thankful. God bless a cheerful giver. I am Miss Morris. My number is 876. And we're not going to go beyond that for the numbers, just in case there are those who are up to other things, meaning up to no good. But we're sorry to hear of your plight, and I would imagine that all other things being equal, that if Jesse and the rest of us are able to, then we'll see what we can do in that regard. But we trust that you will get the assistance that you seek. And we have the number. This one says INRI. And it says, "Welcome to One Dental Jamaica. We can help you put your best." Where's the rest of this message? We can help you put your best smile forward. We care. This looks like ambush marketing. No, that ambush marketing is not allowed, especially since there are a couple of partners already on board in terms of sponsors for this Oral Health Month feature that we ended a short while ago. So it would be fine if it were Dr. Janice Palmer Tomlinson or Dr. Irving McKenzie, because we have a partnership with them in putting together this Oral Health Month feature this afternoon. So, so right. So maybe next year, all things being well, life spare, God willing. All right. Let's go on up the line. Delvarine says every day we have a lot of rain in bread. I think something is left off here. Not walk, have. Right, I can imagine the haste of having to write a message or two or type a message or two, wanting to get out as quickly as possible, results in all kinds of spellings and letterings and all of that. We understand. Thank you for your message. As we continue with more here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Paro 106 FM, taking your calls on 876 922 4112 to 5. Delvarine says it's bread not walk she was referring to. Bread not walk. And let's see who else is messaging us. Cuban in Georgia says, good afternoon, Sir Malcolm. The WHO and the UN are of no help to the poor. All they know is to the people as if they care, they and the government. What is the purpose of the WHO and the United Nations? Those questions being posed by one of our regular listeners who goes by the moniker Cuban in Georgia. Let's keep those messages going. This one from Leroy saying, Mr. James was my former general manager at Beaches Negril. He's an excellent GM. And another message, hello, Dervan, your sister station TV is not working in Petersville, Westmoreland. Petersville, Westmoreland, sir. All right, we'll share this information with the technical crew. And this is the radio television. Where is it? Right, the radio. It's radio, television. There we go. Transmission, TV, radio. All the best to the team playing their part. And we have copied your message and forwarded it to the transmission, TV, radio, WhatsApp group. Let's see who else is hitting us up online here on both sides of the story. Paro 106 FM. And let's see. 876-922-4112 to 5. Those are the numbers to call. And the text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. So let's go down the line. These messages now. Some of them are personal, so we're moving across to the others. So the numbers to call 876-922-4112 to 5. And the text line is the same as the WhatsApp number 876-365-3346. All right, somebody says if you really love food from Jamaica, if you want to go where good fish cook for 12 hours a day, go to Alligator Pond. Was there another breach here now? Another act of ambush marketing? I don't think so. Let's continue and take this next call. Ron is on. Good afternoon, Ron. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, please.
How are you doing today?
I am fine, thanks. And you?
Wonderful. How was your holiday?
Quite enjoyable, thank you.
Yes, yes. Um, Before I give you a rundown of what's going on in the epicenter of the world, which is the U.S., I heard you mention something about dental health.
Yes, it's Oral Health Month.
Okay, interesting. Because you juggled my memory on something. And I like to tell these little anecdotal stories. When I was growing up in Jamaica, it was never a priority for people to carry their kids to have dental appointment, especially if you are not in that particular echelon of Jamaican society.
Yes.
And we had a big problem in Jamaica over the years of people losing their teeth, particularly in the rural areas.
And some of them used to replace them with the what they call the gold teeth.
Right. And some people had what you call mash mouth because they couldn't afford to have their teeth looked after and so on.
Mm-hmm.
That time they used to have a lot of these dental technicians billing the plate. They would refer to it, that false teeth. So, anyways, so it brought me as a child. Now I had a few cavities, and lo and behold, perhaps the most visionary modern day leader in Jamaica.
Hold on, come back to that in just a moment. Yeah. Modern day leader. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Tell us about any illegal guns coming through customs control areas. Call Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is 3:30.
Let's go back to Ron. So you were at Modern Day Leader.
Right. So I should back up a bit. So I used to have a lot of toothache as a child. Remember using salt water and whatnot to numb the pain, which was commonly done in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
And this modern visionary leader of Jamaica, par excellence, came into the picture that saved me and saved me from having a mode of extraction. Michael Manley. You know what Michael Manley did?
No.
Can you hazard a guess? Michael Manley had a policy. He brought Cuban dentists from Cuba. He had a program where at my primary school, including all the corporate area primary schools, that they took us to the dental. He had created a dental clinic.
That's the same one.
And go ahead.
That is still operating, is it?
Yes.
Next door,
And-
Bustamante Hospital for Children.
Okay. And also brought the, so we went, and I had my tooth filled. They also gave us packets of these red pills. They were, I guess, cavity for, where you brush your teeth. It created a red when you brush it in your teeth and whatnot. Gave us toothbrush and so on. And that's the kind of visionary leadership. But what was interesting, that later years, I visited the States, the US. And at the time, I had a very good dental insurance. So that afforded me to choose a particular dentist that I would go to. So now, outside of those many years in Jamaica, this was my first time going to a dentist as an adult. So when I went to that dentist, a very expensive gentleman, he said to me that if I knew this Jamaican man, Butch Stewart. I said, which Butch Stewart is that? And he told me it was a Jamaican man. He was his client. And so you can imagine, I was pretty surprised. That dentist was a very good dentist. I thought, but he was quite expensive. Couldn't afford to go to him. But you know what he said to me after he took the x-rays, gave me a clean, and looked at the fill-ins and everything, that the job was impeccable. Impeccable. I never had to remove those fillings because of what was done in Jamaica in primary school. Can you imagine?
Awesome.
So this is a lesson that when you have really good legacy from a leader like Michael Manley, who was selfless in his determination to help Jamaica, not like these self-serving, self-aggrandizement so-called leadership that we have now in Jamaica. Here was a program you would never believe, because most Jamaican parents, whether they could afford it or not, just never thought that that was something you should make sure that your child won't get rotten out. You understand? You don't lose all the teeth, extract all the teeth and whatnot. So that helped me to this very day. All I've ever had to do was just to get it clean. This is the beauty of when you have real policies that can help the Jamaican people. You understand?
Yes.
Help the people. Now, going over on the issue of what's happening here, we're in the election season. It's been, one of the things that they do here is that they start campaigning back to back. So when one election is finished, another one, whether it's a congressional that puts the people like in the legislature, at the national level, because you have state legislatures also. It's around the clock. Of course, it's heavily controlled by very wealthy people. Bill Gates just gave Kamala Harris $50 million. $50 million. And I understand that she's already raised $1 billion. So you wonder, what is all that money for? Is it to bribe people? Or are these leaders being bribed ahead of them getting in? That they will make policies where they can benefit? Because they have the same patronage system and the same level of corruption here also. So we don't just want to beat up down in Jamaica and pretend that up here is not the same because essentially the Jamaicans learn the same thing from up here, Jamaican politicians. That's why they are so blatant with it that they can get away with what they do and just disregard it. However, there is the difference with the US is that with people ball out and put a spotlight, and if enough pressure comes on it, you just can't sit there and go around with your ill-gotten gain. You understand? You have to give an account. You could be indicted, but we also make exceptions for our crooks. The crooks up here also get off too. It's not, don't believe it's just Jamaica alone where you don't prosecute the crooks. So a lot of money. The Trump, he's getting a lot of money from his friend Elon Musk and from all the big Wall Street. These are the financiers, the money rollers who control it. So it's not as democratic as they love to talk about democracy and whatnot, because you're probably aware that we don't directly elect a president. There's what you call an electoral college that decides who will be the president. So even though I might get all the votes, more votes than you could end up be given those electoral college votes. You see how the system runs. So
Yes.
that's because for a whole variety of reasons that I'm not going to belabor on. Of course, you know about the wars that's going on. That has some serious ramifications. The US is running up a lot of debt. They're printing money. When you control the world's reserve currency, primary reserve currency, you have that opportunity to cheat. You can print your money because everybody uses your money. You understand? So that's a way of continuing to print money and to just pile up the debt. But eventually, that comes around and causes a lot of problems, which we can talk about the BRICS. The BRICS. You hearing about the BRICS? Have you been hearing about the BRICS meeting?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Now, the BRICS, what is the BRICS? What do you understand by this BRICS? Not what the acronym means, but what do you think the BRICS is? What in your observation do you think the BRICS is?
A group of nations engaged in their own planning and preparation for duties.
An economic alternative.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's essentially what it is. Because what happened, the world has been divided up into different blocks. You have, you have the superpower, and the superpower want to dictate all the terms in the world to every country. And that never works in human history. You know, you might like certain things, Dervan, that I might not like, and I want to impose that on what I like because I consider myself the big brother or the big fish or whatever it is. So there is an issue with how the dollar has lost quite a bit of value because I tell you, they keep the printing press going. You know, they keep it also fuels inflation in other countries. So for instance, a little country like Jamaica, right, that has primarily its reserve currency being the US dollar, and we have to buy US dollar to buy everything anywhere, right? That's the only currency that we essentially use, which we need to move away from that. I know it's a very sensitive issue, but we need to diversify quietly. You understand? We need to be using a more even basket of currency. You know, some of the yuan, they call it the renminbi, which is the Chinese currency, um, some euros, and perhaps in the Caribbean, we should be looking within CARICOM, that whole Caribbean single market and economy project that has stalled because we have bozos like the prime minister who follow in Seaga, who don't believe that we should get close with the Caribbean, our Caribbean brothers and neighbors, our historical brothers and sisters, literally, because they moved around, enslaved Jamaicans over to Barbados, from Barbados over to Jamaica, from Haiti, etc., etc., etc. Right? So we know that we are literally connected to these people. You understand? This is why we have this common Creole accent. The Bayesians, the Vincentians. You understand? We are the same people, but we're not teaching that, which is where our school system in Jamaica is still a big problem with this old antiquated colonial education system, right? That is not preparing our youth to take on the global environment and to be knowledgeable. You understand? So that is something that our children need to learn about, coming closer with our Caribbean brothers and sisters. We marry one another, all in foreign. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Trini married Jamaicans, so on and so forth. I've been to a couple of functions, and sitting right next to me is a Jamaican married to a Trini, another Bayesian married to a Jamaican, and Haitian married to Jamaicans, and so on and so forth. Right? We have a common thing on this planet, because just as we mentioned that the BRICS people deciding that they are looking for an alternative because they are being pillared under the dollar system. You know, one country sanction you, so you can't get this and you can't get that and you can't get US dollars and so on and so forth. You understand? So therefore, these countries are looking at, an alternative system. They're not looking at abandoning the dollar per se, right? That's not where they're trying to. Because as you are perhaps aware, Dervan, the Chinese is one of the largest holder of American debt. Did you know that?
Yes.
Yes. So and let me tell you something. I might have my issue with the Chinese. At times I find them a little bit greedy, and they tend to help their kind and not necessarily interested to help you if you're an outsider. But I have to, give it to the Chinese that they have put their house in order, and they should reap some of the benefit on earth. There's enough resources. There's enough resources on earth where we can all have a piece of the pie and live without killing one another.
Hold it a moment there, please. We need to take a break.
Yeah.
We need to take a break.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now 3:45. It continues to be all smiles at Wellington Dental. We offer dental care for the entire family, including cleaning, whitening, and other dental services. There's wheelchair access and an exciting play area for the children. Wellington Dental, 57 Wellington Street, Spanish Town. Telephone 876-984-5482 or 876-749-3515.
Thanks a lot for staying here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. Still taking your calls on 876-922-4112 to 5. And the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. We welcome Jeannie Chambers. She says, good afternoon. Norman Hines, blessed afternoon to you too. Thanks for listening. And Cherry Henry says, good afternoon. Mr. Dervan and listeners, have a blessed weekend, she says, everyone, and keep up the good work. You're very kind. Thank you very much. Keep those messages coming in and the calls, 876-922-4112 to 5. We'll get back to the caller on the line. Hello, Ron. Thanks for staying on the line.
You know, Dervan, that the idea of a BRICS, of a more multipolar world, not just a one world thing, where we have a one world government that slap up and beat up and take away want and so on. That was Michael Manley's vision. You remember Michael was a great advocate in his esteem, wisdom, and erudition, Michael Manley, that he called for a new world order, a new world economic order, because of how the system is set up after World War II, right? And this is where we are at today. Michael Manley must be smiling in his grave, because one of the things about this whole alternative system of world trade, right, is that, for instance, the commodities market, that is where they trade all the commodities like coffee and so on and so forth. Do you realize that Jamaica, who is a major producer of coffee, relatively speaking, because we, the coffee industry has taken a nosedive in Jamaica, and I'm gonna say, because the input of leaching hasn't been positive, based on what the farmers are saying. It has not been positive. So, Mr. Leaching, you need to step out or step up to the farmers, deal with our farmers, our small farmers, give them a fair shake. They were having a better shake with what they receive from their labor than now that you are in there, Mr. Chin. You one can yam all the food. We're not going to have a prosperous Jamaica if just one kind of the billionaire category, and even our farmers who producing the crop, who toiling. I don't have this whole argument about production. And you're not giving the farmers, the coffee farmers, a fair shake. A lot of them have left and abandoned it and flee to the United States. Everybody can run, go foreign. Mr. Leaching, you need to take another look and go and meet with the farmers and address their issues. And the worthless agricultural minister. Who is the agricultural minister? Is that, who is he? Who is the person now?
That's the Honorable
Dervan.
The Honorable Floyd Green.
Floyd Green. What is he doing? Let me, since I'm on farming, since I touch farming, kind of accidentally going to the farm, but all of it comes into what I'm talking about. Now, for years, we have been talking about farmers. We know our farming is critical, especially when you live a foreign and you see the kind of food that they are selling in the supermarket, and you can't get fresh food. Let me tell you. And I mean, you live up in a nice, fancy neighborhood where you're supposedly get the best um, fresh, supermarket food. And when you look and test the quality of the food that they are wrapping up nice and thing, and they spray all what they call that thing, that varnish, not varnish, wax to make it look good. Can you imagine? We wax our food up here. You were aware of that?
No,
Dervan?
absolutely
Yes,
not.
they wax the food. You didn't know that? Yes, it's a common thing they do up here. They wax the food to give it a gleaming, attractive look. They are big up on how the food look attractive. Yes. So that was one of the reasons why Jamaican ginger couldn't make it here on the wider market, because they like to have the thing look big and fluffy, and the Brazilian um, ginger looks big and fluffy, but it do have the taste like the Jamaican, that stingy, strong, that our ginger has. So yeah, they are into cosmetics. It must look good. It not have it good inside. It must look good though. We do that. We wax food. Cucumber, they wax it. All of these things. Okay. Having said that, so we in Jamaica, we have an opportunity, right, to sell and process stuff. Can we have a lot of fruits, you know, fruits, jackfruit up here is like gold. They sell it for a lot of money, right? And all these things that we can do so that Jamaicans can, especially our children, can have a breakfast when they go to school. That should be subsidized. That every Jamaican picnic can sit down in a class and belly full, them can learn. They don't have to worry about them belly. You understand? There are a lot of things we could improve our agriculture. Now I know the politics of agriculture, the local dimension of it, and the foreign dimension of it. Because if when they lend you their money, they will make sure that they will flood your place with their farmers' produce, right? You understand that, Dervan?
Yeah.
Yes. So they, but we can mitigate. We have to be smart. It's like and strategic. It's like how the Chinese them play this game. We need to learn from the Chinese them. Since we saw bufu bufu, I will not know nothing. I'm gonna say that, which I don't accept, because Jamaicans supposed to be very clever people, but we're not acting like it on a national front, at a national level, especially with this kind of malign leadership that we have in the country. That only about stuffing themselves, praising themselves, awarding themselves. By the way, Dervan, leave a little of agriculture there. What's with this over the years I'm noticing, where awards are being given out like candy now in Jamaica? But what's this about? And then I'm seeing politicians awarding themselves the highest order in the country. What's going on with that? How does that line up with the fact that the country, the whole society is on a disharmonious level, right? We have murder. We all have mass murder now. We've gone to mass murder level. And then the same politician, them will come up, award them one another with this big order of Jamaican medal. What is going on? I find that very baffling. Why are these politicians awarding themselves these big superfluous awards? For what? Why are they venerating themselves? They never hear that self-praise is no recommendation. So they can't get it from the Jamaican citizen. Them decide to go and give myself anyway. What's going on? Andrew Holness, what is going on? And let me say something about these awards. And I'm going to give you another anecdotal situation again. There was a man, he was a poet laureate. in the UK, a black man. I think he has Bajan heritage or something from Barbados and somewhere else. His name, one part of his name that I remember, Zephaniah. He, Dervan, was awarded the Order of the British Empire, which is like one of the highest orders in the UK. You ever heard of that order before?
Absolutely. OBE, Order of the British
Right.
Empire.
Yes. No, can you imagine now? So now, imagine you get the big order. You're supposed to feel all glad and good, say, man, white man, give me the biggest order in the country. Me, a little Caribbean heritage man, coming to the United Kingdom, and they're awarding me for my brilliant work and so on. Man, let me run take that, man. I can put that on my resume. Feel good. You know what that man did, Dervan?
What's that?
He politely declined. Do you have any idea why he would decline that esteemed Order of the British Empire award, Dervan?
Well, I have no idea, no doubt that he knows why.
Well, let's share it with your audience. His remark was further. Told you he politely declined that order. And he said, on the sidelines, he said, we're not really not the empire business, a big up empire. Because he's a black man. Why would you take an order of the British Empire when all of your dead relatives them and the slaughter and the continuation of the colonization in the region? Huh? Did you hear what the British Prime Minister spokesperson, Exchequer, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, said about reparations requests from these Caribbean countries? Did you hear?
No.
The woman said she don't have no money. The woman said she don't have no money for reparations.
That happened recently?
Huh?
Did that happen recently?
It's just in the paper, of course. This the new Chancellor of the Exchequer. I believe that's what they call him in the UK, right? Because my head now is a little bit groggy. Yeah, she said it. She said that Britain, but I don't know if you know that Britain is broke. Britain is now a fifth-rate power, Did you know that, Dervan?
No.
Oh, so you think that Britain's still a right high seas?
Hold a moment, please. One moment. One moment.
Yeah.
At Wellington Dental, they offer cleaning, filling, whitening, and other services for the entire family. The time at Wellington Dental is because if you have insurance, it's an account that comes with assurance. Let me teach you why it's more than you want because it's insurance. Just in case your bank crash there. No need to put your hands on your head. 1.2 million you get for an account that's a victim. Yeah, 1 2 you can start. After all party, pay your market fees. JDIC is a smart thing. Because it's legal see. JDIC them forget. Bank and building society protected. The flow you must get with. Protect your savings smart. We urging you to call. Guarantee to be lost. We take banking serious.
Hello? Hello? Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. Ron is on. Thank you for holding the line. Please go ahead.
Yes. So you didn't know that the British government, by the way, have the exchequer. For those who don't know what the exchequer is, it's like the
Bank of
it's like
Jamaica.
the finance. Yes, yes, yes. Um, yes, she said they don't have no money, and but I come, you can come at the CARICOM, sorry, the Commonwealth conference, you know, in where they're keeping that. So wherever they're keeping it. You are aware that there's a Commonwealth conference going on?
I have actually attended one at
Right.
in London. Mm.
Right. Well, there is one that Jamaica. By the way, tell me something. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, did she give a briefing to the Jamaican people when she's going on these trips? Or she just take up herself and go? She don't talk to the public in Jamaica. So that I'm going to attend this. These are some of the issues we're going to go about. Oh, they treat the Jamaican people like that. You know, it's like them personal business. They don't have no respect for the Jamaican black people. They don't they don't consider the Jamaicans on equal footing with them. The Jamaican population. Huh? I mean, they just take up the money, take up Jamaican money, go and waste at these meaningless conferences. What you going to go to a Commonwealth conference? Britain don't have anything to offer Jamaica. Britain don't have anything. You didn't know that, Dervan?
No, I know about the Commonwealth.
Yeah, but you didn't know
and
that
it's
Britain is struggling.
no
Britain is struggling.
that piece. No,
Yes, Britain is struggling because Britain ride America coattail and talk loud and strong. Britain not say anything. You know, it's very difficult in Britain. You know, I saw some places over there. My God, I said to myself, I mean, when I see white people, I see some white people with them teeth in a horrible, deplorable condition. Them, I mean, doing them the drug culture in Britain, the alcohol. I mean, listen, and you know why I'm saying all these things? I'm talking to you Jamaicans listening. And I want you to bring your children when I come on this program. Because I notice I don't hear young people participating in these programs. You know, you need to attract your young people audience. Perhaps Dervan, I'd suggest you take your show into at the campus of the university, not only there, but you take your show like this, take it into like flankers, you know, these areas where they don't have a voice because their MPs not doing nothing, and talk to the young people, hear them. What are their? We need our youths. By the way, this is something that I'd written down, and I've been trying to see if some other folks can put something to it. We need a youth summit in Jamaica and Dervan.
they've had a few of those.
Oh, they have had a few of those?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we need more, man, and broaden it. Going to the depressed areas. Bring out our Jamaican children, man. Talk to them. What are their views about the future? What do they see about Jamaica? You need to, I don't understand how the country operates like this. How the country operates like how it's operating. I mean, where is everybody? Everybody just party. Everybody just party and palaver. I mean, what is going on? This is not a nation. This is what I'm telling you. I just have to go back again to Michael Manley. Michael Manley said that he was establishing student councils in the schools. What an idea, Dervan, that was. And you know that idea was resisted, you know. It was resisted. My principal didn't want me on the school board. Because children must be seen, not heard. This is the kind of attitude, you know. We have to involve our young people. Let me say this again, Dervan. If you alienate the children are the future. If you know all foggy people lock out the kids them from opportunity. If we not dumb them down, there will be no Jamaica for you black people. Let me tell them again. I want to feel that, this and that one is there. Want to see on have lost influence in our own country, that they run off our people off of the beaches. That is an unthinkable thing. That you could run off the average Jamaicans off of the beach. Can you imagine? When I was young, I heard stories. In fact, there was a doctor recently telling me, and I think I've mentioned it to you before, Dervan. He's from Montego Bay. And he told me that, what's that popular beach down there? I don't remember. I'm a little ahead of myself now. He said, when Michael Manley, he's an older fellow than myself, came into office and Manley decreed, because he said to go over that beach, he said it was lovely in Montego Bay there. They had to go under the fence, the barbed wire fence that partition the beach with the hotel. They had to teach for swim. Because if they got caught by the securities, hell on powder house. So Michael Manley decreed that none of these beaches in Jamaica should be corralled by these hotels and prevent Jamaicans from swimming in the beaches. Did you hear of that when you were growing up in Jamaica, Dervan?
No, but in more recent
You didn't know
times,
that there was beach apartheid in Jamaica?
I learned of that when there was a demonstration
Mm-hmm.
at what's the name of the beach? Uh, one of those I think Puerto Seco Beach.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yes, this fella's telling me. I said, what? I said, man, you guys need to write books so that our young people, how did we come to, I remember at one point, people used to love the youth. But when just these selfish adults and elders, you treat the youth so horrendous. And now you start calling the youth them all kind of names. But they are your children. And it's your system them grew up in and see all this nasty political killing, which now going to lead me to this mass murder that just blew up all of the headlines across the wire service. Because I saw them on all of the feeds, BBC, everybody. India covered that story. That's where I got I got the news. And I said, what is this? Because I thought it was some old news. Let me say this. Why? Let me ask you a question. You're on the ground. Why are politicians showing up at crime scenes? What is the basis of that? Why do they come there?
Perhaps to show their compassion and
Compassion.
mm-hmm.
So hold on. Aren't these the people in charge? Isn't there MPs? MPs in these areas where these known gunner shotters, irresponsible shotters, right? Semi-literate shotters. Because many of these guys are semi-literate, right? These areas that these politicians, I saw Powell out there. He's been in politics for over 40 years? That's about right, Dervan?
Not sure of the years.
At least a maximum of 30 something.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Powell have been around. And he's been head of that constituency for many, many years. And we have to have many of the same nonsense going on. Right? Now, I used to tabulate all the murders in Jamaica from 1989, and I stopped at 65,000 murders in Jamaica, right? I stopped keeping up with all of that. Now, these politicians and MP and minister of this and that turn up with them tired self on these scenes. You know why that is dangerous, Dervan? In my opinion, ask me why you think I believe that this is a negative thing to see politicians come out there with them phony face, stand up over on these crime scenes. Ask me why am I of that opinion?
Why?
Because the history in Jamaica is that these politicians interfere with the working of the police to apprehend all the culprits involved and to see that the full force of the law come down on them. What am I talking about? All of these shatters, these major shatters, they are connected to political parties in these, especially these garrison communities. Because these are the henchmen who, when they are necessary, needed for election to make sure that them get corral all the vote in one direction. Right? This is not conjecture. We know this as a fact. Studies upon studies have been done. Correlation upon
So
correlation.
somebody might ask, what did you do about it?
What's that?
Somebody might ask, what did you do about it?
We have done nothing. We have bawled and plead and begged. And these guys are showing us they have no conscience. I'm talking about the political directorate. You, Mr. Chang, will just give your own government, give this big award, say you're the highest order in the country. For what? You're feeding your ego. You're not even interested in some integrity. You would even make the people and say, all right, make we see if we could assess him and give him a grade D. You're going to give yourself a grade A, jump up over everybody else. I would have been much more impressed if you gave, what's his name? What's the name of that gentleman? The nurses. Some valiant nurse in Jamaica who have to deal with all of the overcrowding at the hospital.
We're up on another break, and
yes,
you know how it is. We have to make way for some of the callers, the other callers.
At any time, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Well, let's take the break.
Power 106 FM, the digital sound of now reaching you in more ways. Listen to us from 106.1 to 106.9 on the FM band. You can also listen to us on the Power 106 FM app, which you can download on the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can tune in on your mobile phones by dialing 631 359 8281 if you're in the US. And if you're in the UK, you can dial 0330 606 0953. Plus, listen to us on OneStarMedia.com and the OneStar Media app, or log on to go-jamaica.com. Power 106 FM, where all things giving you powerful talk radio in so many ways, on air and online.
Yes, sir. So, on what note would you like to leave us this week?
We want to talk about the same awards. I put it out there that it's a disgrace, and we notice the pattern that these politicians are giving them one another awards as if it's some kind of banana republic dictatorship where you slap each other's back. That's not acceptable. We're reading through it. It doesn't look good. You are mashing up what can be a good thing, where we award like our nurses who are doing valiant work in other hospitals, in those rundown hospitals. We have some doctors who perform valiantly also, and some of our teachers, especially in those depressed communities we call ghettos. Those are the people who should be getting the majority of the awards. Prime Minister and the government with all these cronies, or some of these private sector people with these bad run businesses that give very disgraceful service in Jamaica to their customers and clients. And you're giving them these powwow and some of these exorbitant prices that we're seeing in the stores. You know, we're not impressed with that, Mr. Prime Minister. You don't have to give out the awards like it's candy you're giving away. No, he mentioned that he was going to create, the Prime Minister that is, an award with the category of icon, separate and apart, that would cover Louise Bennett and the Honorable Louise Bennett and Bob Marley.
Mhm.
What is your take on that first?
You know, years ago when I just started working at Power 106, there's a song that used to be played. Let's see. We don't need another hero.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. All right, I'm going to give you my take on it. I'm not into just gathering heroes for the purpose of just have a long list of people. I look at the deserved contribution to the nation. I would objectively argue that Miss Lou and Bob Marley, I'm going to give you an instance. For Miss Lou has done a lot for the culture of Jamaica that a lot of people was trying to bury and still burying now. But Miss Lou also our 500-year-old survival language, which they commonly refer to as patois. She has done a lot to put that, to do scholarship on it, number one, to show the linkage with where our ancestors came from. And she has put a sense of high culture, which is what our patois language is, because it's our experience in Jamaica 500 years in that country. So I think she's deserving. Now, on the matter of Bob Marley. So, who exactly is Bob Marley? Why he should be venerated in Jamaican society? Well, I would argue that Bob Marley paid the ultimate price for his love for Jamaica and for, most importantly, for Black people. Because here, Bob Marley, who was a product of his environment, because we are, those of us who grew up in Jamaica, born and think the whole 500-year track from abduction in Africa, so on and so forth. We pay our dues in Jamaica, and living in Kingston, we know Kingston is one of the roughest places any child can grow up, especially a fatherless child. So Bob Marley is an embodiment of Jamaica. He has loved Jamaica. He has put his life on Jamaica. What do you think I'm referring to when I say that, Dervan? When I say Bob Marley put his life? on the line for Jamaica. What do you think I mean by that?
I'm thinking of standing in the middle when things got really rough. You turn to
Absolutely.
mhm, you
Yes,
turn
you
to
are correct.
go ahead.
Bob Marley, for
Mhm.
those people who are new initiated into Bob, not only was his reclamation, as he was part of that effort of black dignity in Jamaica, because black was considered one of the dirtiest things in Jamaica. That's what I grew up hearing. Um, so coming out of that slave experience, and he joined with the Rastafarian movement, which is an embodiment of the reclamation of African culture. That's what reggae and Rasta was about, right? And he embraced that wholeheartedly. But importantly, in the contemporary times, what Bob did. So Jamaica was being torn to pieces and pushed in the direction of a civil war by local forces and international actors who wanted to drive Michael Manley's program out of Jamaica. So we had open warfare in Jamaica. And some of the hypocrites, them perhaps listening to me now, who were part of that effort to undermine the society. And Bob Marley, who had this heart for his people, he lived in one of the most um, downtrodden areas, Trenchtown at the time. And so he knew, even though he rose up, he had gained fame and notoriety internationally, but he never forgot his birthplace and his people. And at that volatile period, when they created these dons and shotters who shotting down them own black Jamaicans, Bob Marley stepped up and decided to use music and culture to tamp down the political madness that was going on in Jamaica, right?
And what about
No,
those? Sorry, what about
go
those
ahead.
who would argue that it's pure politics? We're playing politics.
Who was playing politics?
That they those who are holding these positions and taking these positions and talking whatever is on their mind and what?
You're saying that those who would accuse Bob of playing politics.
No, not Bob in this
Oh,
instance, but
of
in
what
terms
was
of
going on at the time?
individuals. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's now a historical fact. There's no two ways about it. They tried to cover up the story before, right? But one of the wonderful things about America is that America always come back and tell you the going on. So if you do something hanky panky for them, they're gonna put you out there. So the Americans themselves have told you that they were trying to dislodge Michael Manley in Jamaica. So that's a fact. You know, they tell you, they teach you here in the universities, you know. So Jamaica can't hide it. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
They teach you that the CIA was active in Jamaica. And that's what they do. I mean, you know. And here it is. Again, this is where I'm telling you about the heroic nature of Bob Marley. Because this is serious stuff we're talking about here.
Mm.
Bob Marley, who was about third world solidarity, African solidarity. This was his politics. He wasn't a partisan political actor, even though those assassins who came to kill Bob Marley before that concert, I remember it so clearly as a child, watching this thing playing out. Those assassins wanted to get Michael out of the sorry, Bob out of the way, and almost assassinated Bob and his entire immediate family and friends. This is a hero. He loved Jamaica. He knew what was going on with the politics and the gun boy there. Remember, Bob helped some of the guys to tom it down. And the story has not been told yet. Maybe I might write a book on it. It's going to have a lot of research. But remember that some of these dons in the community befriended Bob Marley. You remember that? People like Claudia Massop, who was himself eliminated.
I'm
So
familiar with the
Bob
names.
was a man who used, he didn't have to. He could have just said to hell with Jamaica and go cock up himself at England and live nice and enjoy himself. He cared about his people. And he said, no man, we can't just watch all this murder. Dervan, you would never believe the amount of murders. I've seen a body lying right on that gully. I don't know what you call that place. Right next to the boulevard. That open gully.
Mhm.
Next to Seaward Drive, I think it is.
No,
I
that
remember
one
as
is
a
not
child
Seaward.
seeing a dead body from election. The body lied on at the gully. It's as vivid in my mind as anything else. I can tell you people who, even though they were not really friends, but seeing it through their eyes as a child. There was this young, I didn't tell you what happened to me. I ran through the glass door, supposed to be a bulletproof glass door. Almost lost my leg. It was Christmas. And I thought I saw a friend passing the gate. And not knowing, ran out. The drapes were drawn. The glass was cleaned. And my feet stuck in the broken glass. I almost lost my ability to walk. That's another story. But what I'm telling you, I ended up in the hospital for the first time. I think it was the KPH or the University Hospital? I don't remember. But what
More
I
than
do
likely
remember,
KPH.
it might be KPH, right? It was dreaded idea of going into a public hospital. Because, that's how you grow, that you don't go to that place. It was so horrible. And you know what I saw there?
What's that?
I was lying on the gurney waiting for them to locate a doctor to see what could be done. Because they said, oh, I'm going to lose my feet. And right next to me, there was a young fellow. We later learned that he was 17 years old. He was wearing a Michael Manley shirt. I remember it very vividly.
All right, hold a moment. We'll come back to that and wrap.
The time is now 4:30. Join Dr. Herbert Gale Mondays and Tuesdays. If you don't sit down and make an overall investment in your human resource and you keep just allowing your very best to go, you are going to end up weaker. And tune in to Salmon Crosskill from Wednesday to Friday. The majority of people in Jamaica are good, decent, honest, hardworking people. What we are doing is we are allowing a minority to control the narrative, featuring the bottom line with Ralston Hyman, the best public affairs banter on Jamaican radio. Everything is connected. If you have more of your people employed and you're operating at full capacity, you're supposed to be getting more output, not less. It's Power Talk, weekdays 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Identifying challenges and finding solutions in a globalized world. Make it a date. Join us.
Yes, thanks for holding the line. And you were on the subject of being lying on that gurney.
Yes, so I was laying on the gurney
Mm.
next to another fellow who we later learned he was 17 years old. He was wearing a Michael Manley shirt, and his hands was almost severed. He was coming down. Do you remember he told my folks the story that he was coming down Maxfield Avenue, and he was accosted by some men, and they attacked him with machetes, and he held up his hands to block his neck, and that's how his hand was almost severed. Now, I was treated, stitched up and so on and so forth. I never knew what happened to the fellow, but I remember that vividly. And I just give you a sort of abbreviated story, right? In Jamaica. So this is what I'm telling you about what was going on in the period that Bob Marley, who was comfortably well off, could have kissed him teeth on the war in Jamaica, the Civil War, near Civil War in Jamaica. But Bob Marley injected himself in this poisonous election campaign, right? And and tried to make a difference, to calm down the pressure in Jamaica. Because you remember that music is very powerful, culture is very powerful. And even though Bob was shot and his wife and so on and so forth were hurt, he still came and performed for his people. That's a hero. That's a hero. That's showing love, demonstrating love for his people. So I believe that Bob is more worthy than Bustamante, than Norman Manley to be on the national hero list. He must be. So, I thought of it, I gave it a lot of thought beforehand, because we've had this debate with some other folks about whether or not, because I'm not into this, you just want to put a man on there just to make up numbers. But I've examined Bob's consistency. This is what he also did for the culture. This is what he also did for Jamaica. And of course, I'll big up people like Peter Tosh also, right?
What
Who
ab-
stood up. But let's deal with Bob, since Bob and Louis Bennett are the two contenders.
what
But
about
Bob
those
has,
who argue about lifestyle? His lifestyle.
there is never, interesting that you brought that up, because no other than your famous radio broadcaster, the late, what's his name? Perkins.
Mhm.
I used to hear him on your radio bragging about Thomas Jefferson. Are you familiar with Thomas Jefferson,
Yes,
Dervan?
yes, former
Yes.
president.
Okay. So Thomas Jefferson is an esteemed hero in the United States. The Constitution is attributed to him. One of the founding fathers of the United States, the great powerful United States. Do you know that Thomas Jefferson was a big slaveholder up
Yes.
until he died? He never, this man supposed to be some moral, this man that write this supposedly moral constitution. Every man is created equal. That was one of his lofty arguments. Did you know that same man sit around the table that put on there that black people are considered 3/5 of a human being? Are
Mhm.
you aware of that, sir?
Yeah.
Now, are you aware of Thomas Jefferson's autobiography? The
Mhm.
one that was written by him. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's the only president at that time who actually penned his autobiography.
Mhm.
You're aware of that, sir?
Not in de- not
Are you
in
familiar with his autobiography?
not in detail.
Okay. Well, he wrote a book called Wealth of Nations. No. I'm wrong. It's not Wealth of Nations. I'm thinking of Adam Smith. Notes of Virginia. I might be a little off, but I'm just shooting everything from the top of my head. I think it's Notes on Virginia, something to that effect. Well, you know what Thomas Jefferson said in that thing? Thomas Jefferson not only questioned black people intellect, Thomas Jefferson, black people smell. Him say all the smell of them repugnant. Man, go read, listen. So the person walks about lifestyle. If you are talking about is Western, now notice my caveat, Western, because you know that in African societies, there's not only polygamous societies, but one of the things that we did as Africans is that if you are my brother, Dervan, and you die unexpectedly or whatever, and you are married with children, I would take your wife and children in my household and look after them. This is how it worked in African society. And one of the things, and I'm not making an excuse for those men who are hide and seek with 10 women and left baby mother, yes, and all of that. That's not, I don't co-sign that nonsense. You understand? But one of the things that I've seen in my evolution as I grow older and older in life is that there is something intrinsic within us, particular black men. We're not talking about white men, we don't know what white men do, right? But we have a deep empathy. I don't like use the word love because love is an overused Western word. Commitment to our women. We like to help women. You understand? That's been one of my weaknesses as growing up as a person. I don't exploit women, I exploit women and want to take advantage of every struggling woman and all of that stuff.
Here,
That's
here.
not in my intent. But there's that affinity to want to help her. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Because of, I guess, the closeness to when you grow up with your mother. A lot of us grew up as single mom with single moms and all of that stuff. So there is that dynamic. There's that deep African sense where you have and I should also put it also in a more secular context. Bob was an artist. Most of the entertainment artist life is a lot of cannibal style thing. You have enough woman and enough baby mother and all of that kind of a jazz out there that goes on. I mean, some of it to women go after you because you're in the entertainment and they love the glamour and the glitz and the whatnot, irrespective of whether you're married or whatever. But I'm not. If we're looking for a hero without fault, we have to pop down all of the heroes them up there. Certainly would have to fling off Norman Manley and Alexander Bustamante, and would have to pop off all the medal off of Horace Chang and all of these malign fellows in many of our opinion, many of Jamaicans' opinion, feel that these are malign figures that govern our country, right? So there's no a heroic figure. Don't have to be some kind of messianic, virtuous type of person. That doesn't exist. Even the saints, Dervan,
Yes.
even the saints in the church or the Catholic Church canonize and anoint up all of these some of these reprobate figures as saints. You'd have to pull them out of the church and fling them out. You see what I'm saying? So that's not a
Yeah.
valid argument. If people are going to say, well, because Bob Marley have a woman and all of that,
No, we're
that's
just
fine.
playing the devil's advocate.
No, that's good. No,
Mm.
it's a justified thing. I mean,
Mm.
it's a justified thing. It's because I noticed there's a lot of emphasis because the real value of and attributes of Bob Marley's work is not being emphasized because we allow the foreigners to take the message and we sort of put him into this pop figure, Elvis Presley type things. Now we start talking about him only a woman, and we have this a woman come out of the woodwork. I try to, you know, usurp Rita Marley's position, and we could argue that regardless of what Bob Marley was doing out there, Bob Marley highly venerated Rita Marley, and she was a worthy woman of worth. And I think those are the other has-been women who coming out to come try to cash in on the fame need to step back. They are being disrespectful. They are being disrespectful because Rita Marley is still alive. She should be given that dignified position. She has been a wonderful woman to keep the family together. She has also shared up the spoils with all of the baby mothers and the whoever from out of OEO. She's a commendable figure. She has also tried to preserve his legacy, which is also makes her very. She needs to go on that list also. She needs to go on that same list with thing that what we're waiting on. Put them on the list. She needs to go on that list. She's an exemplary person. She has been a wonderful wife to Bob Marley, regardless of whatever Bob shortcomings, irrelevant, don't have nothing to do with it. We're not choosing a religious figure. We're choosing a hero, and he has put his life on the line. Wouldn't you agree with that, Dervan?
Oh, yes.
Yes, the man put himself out there. And you know what the injustice is, Dervan? Before they put Bob Marley to any elevated status, you, Mr. Andrew Owens, you're the head of the government, the current administration. You need to conduct an investigation to tell us who was that assassin, because the Americans tell us who the assassin is, but we don't see the assassin, the official accounts of what happened to Bob Marley and that investigation, since nobody was locked up. The assassin I hear is dead now. We need to have a proper accounting. Don't just come with no little bitch up thing. Yeah, come now. Oh, we have to put him as icon. Don't come patronize us and Jones. Deal with the thing properly. It's a nation. It's the embodiment of something. This kind of little shilly-shally way, oh, we're going to give them an icon. What does that mean? Icon status. Icon in a Hollywood. We don't know that Hollywood thing. Bob Marley's life embodied something very important too. One of the things that
one moment, please.
Huh? Yes.
You're listening to Pearl 106 FM. The time is now 4:45.
No. Oh.
Tune in to Power 106 FM for the longest running religious morning program on Jamaican radio, The Prayer Line. Join Pastor Errol Hay and his team as they offer spiritual guidance and intercession grounded in biblical doctrine. Hear powerful testimonies from Jamaica and around the world. The Prayer Line, a source of support and inspiration in these trying times. That's the Prayer Line, Power 106 FM, Sundays at 6:30 p.m. Join us. Amen. You shall give it testimony here on the God's side.
It has most certainly taken us a while to hear both sides of this story. 1 hour, 18 minutes, 45 seconds. And counting.
I appreciate your indulgence and your fine listening audience. We want to hear from the young people. These are their conversations. We want to hear more. Want to see you need to take your talk into the byways and blow this thing up because we need to be talking sensible conversations with each other and create our own space in Jamaica, not just be entertained by what is going on in America and England and wherever else. Jamaica is a worthy place. It's a strong cultural place. It's a place that produced myself, my awareness and understanding. But one of the important contributions of Bob Marley that we didn't even touch, Dervan. You know what that is?
What's that?
Bob Marley championed blackness and Africanness unequivocally in Jamaica. And remember, Africanness and blackness is very controversial in Jamaica. You just have to ask Beverly Manley. Beverly Manley, I went to one of these book signing that she did, and Beverly was telling the audience that she used to get hate mail saying how she can up there with her head looking like that. Because at the time, Beverly didn't perm
Process.
or cream or whatever they call her here. She was natural because Michael Manley again was influenced by the current. Remember, I told you in previous conversation what was going on in the world in why Jamaica. Remember, Jamaica was an anti-black society. It was a racist society. It was a slave society. That's what slavery is. So we telling our children about Jamaica, oh, we don't know racism. That's nonsense. That's a shame of you Jamaicans. That you just throw rocks on your ancestors. That's the basis of slavery. Racism. You are not good enough. That's what colonialism is. Beverly said that she got hate mail. I say you shame on yourself. You're up there with your hair like that. You need so. Bob Marley was proud of his natty dread, the natural locks of the African people. Many black Jamaicans, they know say you could have black people, you could have go down on your foot. They always ask you mix. What the hell is mix? The African beautiful people. Look at the Ethiopians. So Bob Marley came in your face in the Jamaican hypocrites. I was looking at an article recently, Dervan, written by Don Rich. My God, I never seen such anti-black sentiment in a column in the Gleaner. I have the article. These people that talk about brown this and this that. You are black. You're African. Proud of it. You come from a proud lineage of people. People that created mathematics. You ever heard of the Ashango bone, Dervan?
Ashango bone?
Yes.
No.
Yes, this is what they came up with the Africans to check the cycle, to calculate the cycle, the menstrual cycle, the Ashango bone. I might be mispronouncing the words a bit because, unfortunately, nobody never teach me any African language. And I don't know if I can try Swahili at this point in my life. Maybe, perhaps if my head can get straight. But yes, Dervan. So these are the people that have come out of this great civilization. Right now, Dervan, they're celebrating Black History Month in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
You're aware of that?
Yes.
Yes. And, again, that development coming from that burst of confidence that the Rastas, the Bob Marleys, Natty Dread, the Bob Marley went to connect us with Africa, reconnect us back with Our last, can you imagine, 400 years we severed from Africa. And Bob Marley went over there as one of the symbols and foster that relationship with Zimbabwe. Now we have Jamaican businesses setting up in Zimbabwe, some restaurants and so on, small businesses. We need our government, evangelists, in just favor all these overprivileged people in Jamaica. I don't know how much more concession you're going to give Leachin and all these other people. What about the smaller Jamaicans? Help them to develop their entrepreneurship and buttress their development. What kind of lopsided thing you're doing? You're not helping Jamaica. When you give all these fat cats everything, and then the rest of people with all the talent, they have to run out of the country, left the country, and hollow out the country. Come on. Yes, so the Jamaicans have Dervan gone over there, open a restaurant, and these are some of the things that only can cover, I think you have a diaspora.
We have done that for years. We have.
Yes.
We're
going to the Africa, because that's also not only reconnecting with our people, that's a market possibility for our Jamaican black people. I mean, I talk about other the out of many one to go grab it up, because them have all the access to money. We want to see the regular Jamaicans to be able to go over those places, go and visit them, make connection. Some of these trips are Camilla Johnson that waste taxpayers' money. She's supposed to take a delegation of Jamaican smallest enterprise. Even some of the so-called higglers, and they need to rename the higgler business. I don't like that old slave name. Our small business people, carry them on some of those trips and let them ingratiate themselves in those markets, because they can do business over there. You understand? Because a lot of people, are very interested in the Jamaican people, because the black African Jamaicans open the door, not the uppy out of many. You understand? So they should be the ones benefiting. We want to see them benefit from these associations. Look at Ethiopia, Dervan. You realize that Ethiopia is one of the fastest growing economies.
Mm-hmm.
You're aware of that, Dervan?
I know that there was some growth happening.
Whole heap of growth. They're building a large dam over there. I haven't been to Ethiopia yet, but I do hope to go. A couple of my friends have been. I've met quite a lot of Ethiopians. I had a conversation with the Abuna, who was sent from Ethiopia to deal with Florida. Very interesting gentleman. I promised to visit the church at some point. But there's a lot of opportunities there. Dervan, did you know that Tanzania is also one of the fastest growing economies? Like 4 or 5% growth per annum. Did you know that, sir?
I knew that it was there.
Yes.
But in terms of the details.
Lots of opportunity on the can allow Dervan. I mean, I talk to the wider Jamaican people. I want to organize yourself. Get together. Organize Jamaicans. I don't love the one-man business and the one-woman thing too much. Share. Cooperatives. Work together. It's harder when you one. One hand can't clap. You need backup. That's why we're so weak in the island. Can we just move off on oneself? That's why we can't compete with the other groups of people who are coming to the island. Black people, we need to stop this one man and one woman business. Get together with like-minded people. We claim so we are island people, we are Jamaican, we are this. Get together, work together. Don't buy into this little lie that is individualism. It don't get you nowhere. You know what people in a foreign, them dead like dog by themselves. Them don't have nobody to come and look for them in the hospital. because they're living in this individualism business. Me talk to my people. This is a once in a life opportunity. I'm not going to be on this thing now. Come talk about my time because I have a meeting at 6 o'clock, US time. But I say I had to come still and use the opportunity to dialogue with my people because I don't hear the level of conversation on the media. Then on the media is a joke. You understand? What people need, black people, we have to start to respect and love each other. Mothers, don't abuse on a son. We have a way to cuss out on a son and tell them how them are like them dirty pooper. And then you wonder why the youth them so messed up in them adult life. And we need to spend some attention, put some attention, because them a man don't mean to say that them can take care of themselves and everything is good with them. Them are struggle just like anybody else. Help the men them in the society. Because if we don't have strong men, who going wed our daughters? What we plan to do? We plan to fall over and allow these people to come in with them agenda in Jamaica. To come tell we say we need to pair up with one another with same sex. Is that where we're going, Jamaican people? We're not going to sit down. We're not proud people of Nani, Sam Sheka. By the way, Dervan, let me ask you a question before I do. How did we get Paul Bogle picture mixed up with an American inventor?
Good question.
You're aware that is the wrong picture we're using for years?
Quite a number of years now, and I've talked about it over
Have they
time.
removed it?
I'm not sure if the most recent of the heroes' photos that have been published uh, are bona fide,
Yes.
because one of them, as you know, has been seen as questionable.
Yes. Yes,
So,
that picture. I was, I came up. I was reading an article about American inventors, black inventors, and I was
all
shocked
right.
when I saw them. I said, "But wait, no, Paul Bogle this."
We're gonna have to leave it
What
here,
is it?
though. We're gonna have to leave it here
Huh?
because it's news time.
Yes. Thanks a lot, man.
Good. Thank you too. Take care. All things being well, both sides of the story returns Monday afternoon, 2 to 5. Till then, this is Dervan Malcolm reminding all of us that every day is an opportunity to do better than yesterday. Take care.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now 5 o'clock. News, comprehensive, powerful, and critical. Power 106 FM now presents a simulcast of Radio Jamaica's news.
Good afternoon. Coming up in the news segment of today, Federal Public Health 2004. Authorities seeking to stay on suspension of sexual passport injuries and citizenship. Parliament representative refuses to place the unfair process and Western Affairs. The list is the prisoners in as one suspect in legal statements shooting in Fort East. Opposition leader welcomes latest governance poll results, which show him surpassing Prime Minister and Gomez in favorability rating among voters. In business news, UNFAO coordinating specialized training to increase production of microphones. The discussion segment of the headlines where the Neil Jackson winner comes up after this news. Now the details of the news on Radio Jamaica 94 FM online at radiojamaica94fm.com. The National Workers Union says it's now trying to avert this right action by workers at the Passport Immigration and Citizenship Agency. The PICA employees are arrested over the reclassification exercise at the agency. The workers became arrested after receiving their October salary. According to NWU General Secretary Dervan under the reclassification exercise conducted by the Finance Ministry, junior and senior workers in the various departments have been lumped together and placed in the same band regardless of qualification and tenure.
And we find great difficulty with such situation. How can you have workers who would have worked 15 years, 10 years, experience, fully qualified, more trained, etc., starting at the same level with the workers who just came in the categories? We're talking about the immigration officers, we're talking about the field officers, we're talking about passport workers, we're talking about other workers in commercial, other officers, supervisors, etc. It is unfortunate. The system that is used is obviously flawed, but as a result, what is being given as the authority to use as tool is one that is also flawed.
Mr. Valentine made it clear that the workers are arrested when this could lead to major disruptions in the country's immigration system.
We have scheduled meetings with the management team and with JCSA for Monday at 2 p.m. And we will be arranging the necessary meeting with finance, TIU, and of course the compensation department to ensure that we are all at the same level and that this urgent matter is corrected with immediacy.
NWU General Secretary Granville Valentine. The parliamentary opposition says there is a major crisis at the Boston Hospital for Children and is accusing the health minister of seeking to downplay the situation. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton was forced to call a press briefing yesterday following claims that life-saving surgeries were being delayed due to problems with the air conditioning unit in the operating theatre. Dr. Tufton emphasized the need for better maintenance of the equipment at hospitals to alleviate the crisis. But speaking with the media last evening, opposition spokesman on health, Dr. Alfred Dawes, accused the health minister of minimizing the extent of the crisis at the Children's Hospital.
And I say it's a performance in crisis management because all that came out of it was a very deliberate attempt to kill the story by trying to say that the little girl is going to get her surgery done. A lot of blame shifting as to why we got here, and that's the end of it. But there are deep-rooted issues at the Bustamante Hospital that need to be addressed because it's not just one person who will be facilitated at the University Hospital that who has been affected. There are many children out there who are suffering because of the dilapidated state of the operating theatre. And until we address those issues, we're going to continue to see cases like this popping up from time to time.
Opposition spokesman on health, Dr. Alfred Dawes, and Dr. Dawes is accusing the Ministry of Health of stocking the island's hospitals with cheap equipment, saying this is contributing to the maintenance crisis.
But then when you look specifically at the hospitals, we do not have a proper preventative maintenance program. So do not listen to the sweet talk about equipment being bought and how much money is being spent. For one, we are overpaying for a lot of these equipment. And I'll say, quite frankly, there are a lot of hustlers out there who just buy cheap equipment from China, sell it to the Ministry of Health, and then they're deployed in hospitals. They do not know anything at all about maintaining these equipment. You cannot get the parts for them. And because they're just hustlers, they don't have an organized an arrangement with the manufacturers to service these equipment. So naturally, the equipment are going to go down.
Shadow Minister for Health Dr. Alfred Law speaking at a press briefing last Tuesday. The police high command has listed an escapee as a primary suspect behind Monday's mass shooting in Pleasant Heights, Rockford, East Kingston. He is 28-year-old Junior Crary, otherwise called Wappa, a construction worker of Canavan Street in Kingston. Investigators are urging Crary to surrender to them for questioning. Crary was among 3 prisoners who escaped from the Port Royal police station on August 30, 2021. Another suspect in the mass shooting was fatally shot during a police operation on Tuesday. 5 people were killed and 2 others wounded when armed men opened fire on patrons attending a football match.